Kicking off the list at number 10, glyphosate. We'll start this wacky list off with perhaps one of the coolest things that I've seen online. Also one of the weirdest things for sure. This was posted by Reddit user Thunderbolt, and it was in tons of communities. I've seen this video pop up numerous places. The internet knows me so well. It looks otherworldly. I thought this video was in slow-mo. Nope. Take a look. I had to watch it a few times. This looks like it's in slow motion, but when the camera moves away, that's clearly not the case. So what's going on here? What am I looking at? What in the avatar is going on? This is turbulent flow, and the speed matches that of the camera's shutters. It's kind of like footage of a helicopter. You know, sometimes it'll fly through the air and it looks like it's just still, just doing this. It's the weirdest thing ever. Really, it's the propellers that are matching the camera's shutter speeds. It's odd. But in this case, it's really odd. Imagine sending this to your boss to check in at work. Yeah, the ectoplasm's in slow-mo again, so it's gonna be a while. Send. Number 9, player 2 has entered. I saw this video again a while back online, as I spend most of my time on Reddit after midnight, you know, as do the rest of us. And for months now, nobody can figure out what is happening in this video. Take a look. Was he running beside the truck? How did he just appear? Was he hanging onto the side of the truck like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible? How is he so calm, cool, and collect? He waits a second after the truck pulls away. He waits a second, almost as if he's still loading. Maybe some other dimensions going on here. People are saying it's an edit, others are saying the van door was open, and then others are arguing in the comments about which doors belong on which vans. Then there's also an argument about wheels and doors, but I think that's something that's separate, that's totally separate. Whichever universe this man came from, welcome, first of all, and you've caused so many headaches already, so great start. Number 8, too many beetles. Before you get grossed out, I don't mean that type of beetle, although that would be pretty bad as well. Gross. This video was shared to the lovely world of, you guessed it, Reddit. User H. Mumberto was having just a normal day, but there's like 6 of the same car that appear out of nowhere. There's the exact same Volkswagen Beetle, same color and everything. 2 are parked, one's driving into town, another's driving out of town, and one is lost. Can't figure out which town they're in. I hope they're filming a movie or something here because this is honestly pretty creepy. I would film this as well, for sure. This is like the Truman Show in real life. Oh God, that movie messed me up when I was younger. If this was me, I wouldn't be nearly as calm as whoever's filming this video. That's so many white beetles just around in one small area. That's like in GTA 5, when you get in one car, then all of a sudden every car around you is the exact same. You're like, what's going on here? It's trippy, it's very noticeable. I couldn't imagine seeing this in real life, so thank you for sharing. That being said, it's not bizarre for some places to manufacture the same model of a car, but this, I don't know, it's creepy. This is like definitely a glitch in the Matrix. Number 7, 3 dogs. This is the most bizarre video I've seen in a while, straight up. This was almost number 1, but we get into more of the, you know, cosmic stuff for number 1, so, you know. Animals follow each other. This is a known fact in nature, but this right here is next level. At first I thought these were 3 cats, because you know, cats are a bit more insane than dogs. You know, if I had to bet on which animal would run into a glass window 3 times in a row, I would probably say a cat. Cats are wild. They'll stare at nothing for like 42 minutes. Creepy, I don't like that. This video shows 3 dogs confusing the hell out of a staff. It looks like a clinic of some sorts or a hospital. One dog runs into the glass, it's okay, and it runs off. Another dog does the same thing, it's okay, runs off. And then in comes a 3rd dog, just to continue confusing the staff and myself watching this video. The fact that they're all the same color and size and hits the same window, I mean, something's going on here. This is actually crazy. Maybe it's one dog, and he's just really, really fast. He's just doing laps. Number 6, the cold spot. Okay, getting more cosmic now into these dimensions and parallel universes. Okay, so strap in. In 2004, NASA's WMAP satellite saw one of the most mysterious and perhaps one of the most ominous findings in science history, the cold spot. And no, I don't mean your ex's heart. Nothing is colder than that. That's another list. We'll save that one. The cold spot is, for starters, massive. When the universe was created a good, 14 billion years ago, it left some cosmic microwave background for us to explore and, just live in. Specifically, this one really cold spot of radiation. While the rest of the universe expands and cools down over time in millions of years, this area has remained colder than any of the surrounding area. Just radiation left over from the very beginning of our universe. Another theory by scientists is that this cold spot is a result of collision between 2 different universes, which is interesting. That's when things start to get a little mind-bendy. Could this spot be an icy cold doorway into another bubble universe? Perhaps the first evidence that proves the multiverse theory, aside from the show Loki? Maybe. We'll have to see. Just gotta stick around and wait for something to happen. They have that collider that may or may not help, that I may or may not talk about later on. Number 5, the Milky Sea phenomenon. I've seen this with my very own eyes, and if you get a chance to see bioluminescence in the ocean, do it. What an odd request. Everyone's like, okay, finally, it's about time. I'm gonna do it. The Milky Sea phenomenon was first observed back in 1864. Captain Raphael Semmes journaled it aboard his CSS Alabama, and he had no idea what the hell he was looking at. Even today, we don't fully understand how bioluminescence works in nature. So this captain obviously was shaken after seeing something like this. He wrote about passing from the deep blue waters into a patch of water so bright that it startled him. A startled explorer. Ah, yes, nothing worse than that. He wrote down his thoughts and feelings. Remember, this is 1864, long before the movie Avatar was out in theaters, so this is all new to human beings. Captain Raphael wrote, "The whole face of nature seemed to have changed. With a little stretch of the imagination, the CSS Alabama might have been conceived to be a phantom ship, lit up by the sickly and unearthly glare of a phantom sea." That's what I'm going to write down. What am I looking at? Guy thought he drifted into Pandora. That's quite the quote, Captain Semmes. Thank you for sharing. All those years ago. I don't think he's watching this video. That's not an exaggeration either. This phenomenon is something out of a movie. It's so alien. Bioluminescence is part of the reason for this ghostly bright blue appearance, but sailors who have experienced this say there's something sinister about it as well, so who really knows? To this day, we don't fully understand how bioluminescence works, but it's continuing to grow and blow our minds. We just discovered a glowing shark recently. Yeah, just a new shark, a new glowy shark. That's what we're dealing with now, so this captain would be surprised if he saw what we have now. The Milky Sea phenomenon can span around 100,000 square miles, so again, this one's pretty large. And it can last for a few nights, so I don't blame these sailors for getting spooked. In 2005, we got low orbit satellites to snap a pic of this phenomenon, and on a list of otherworldly dimensions, this is perhaps the most otherworldly event that happens on our planet. Number 4, Large Hadron Collider. We can't have a list on other dimensions and not talk about the Large Hadron Collider. This project is testing the laws of physics. We mentioned earlier the remnants left over from the Big Bang and all that. Well, scientists are currently trying to make another Big Bang. Well, a little bang. A smaller bang. Hopefully a smaller bang. This project was put in motion by CERN. They're trying to identify what dark matter is, seeing how, it makes up a lot of our universe, and the project also aims at trying to discover tiny black holes. And if you've seen Interstellar, this could mean a few things if done correctly. We could maybe open a door to a parallel universe. So us humans are like, you know what, let's try and smash some particles together, see what happens. So now we have a 16-mile long underground ring that blasts proton beams close to the speed of light, then they make them collide into each other, ideally creating a black hole. How fun for us. The project hasn't been successful yet, but when it is, I feel like we'll know. We'll have an idea, we'll have a feeling in our hearts, or we might turn into spaghetti instantly. We'll know something worked, or didn't, for that matter. Number 3, the Philadelphia experiment. Perhaps one of the most bizarre tales when it comes to other dimensions. And this one has credibility behind it too. It pops up in my Reddit a lot. The 1943 Philadelphia experiment. If you haven't heard of it, sorry, this is gonna upset you maybe. This World War II conspiracy theory takes place on the USS Eldridge, this destroyer-class ship, and they were conducting these secret experiments aboard this ship to gain power over naval warfare. One of these experiments was to create this technology that makes ships invisible. On radar. That's an important note. Invisible on radar, not like... But when the generators were fired up to try this, the hull apparently lit up with this green and blue light, then the ship actually disappeared. Invisible IRL, not just radar. It was then seen at a naval shipyard in Virginia before the same thing happened again, and then it appeared back in Philadelphia, apparently. This sounds intense as is, but when you hear about the crew on board, it gets pretty scary. Some, of course, went mad after the dimensional dip, while others had physical effects from the cosmic commute. Yeah, some haunting details in that one. Some dude's arm was like just in the wall or something. It was horrible. I can't even talk about it on YouTube. It's gross. Number 2, Tartarus. Okay, we're getting a bit historical in the other dimensions for this one now. Number 2 and 1, we're getting deep. Greek mythology, here we go. According to Greek mythology, I'm talking like way back in 700 BC, Tartarus was a deep abyss. A dungeon, really, full of, suffering and torture and everything bad that you can think of, just, probably in there. This place full of suffering, of course, resides in Hades. If you played the game Hades, you know exactly where I'm talking about. It's the second world. It's so hard. Hades is a realm where the dead go after their, time is run out. It doesn't mean that it's a fiery abyss per se, that's just where Tartarus comes in. Tartarus is where the underworld devil theme kicks in. Plato wrote about these souls of the dead and how they were judged, and after they, would have to cross a river of the dead and all that stuff. So that's definitely some other dimension stuff that we're talking about there when it comes to the religious history. If you weren't a great human being, you were of course judged as so, and subsequently you were sent to Tartarus. the bad place. In Greek poet Hesiod's Theogony, Tartarus was offspring of Aether and Gaia. They were the third of the primordial deities. Even Zeus mentioned this place in the Iliad. Zeus states that Tartarus is as far beneath Hades as heaven is high above earth. So that's a lot of dimensions. We're in the middle right now, which is nice. I want to stay here. I'm like, maybe, definitely not. Here, we're good. And finally, number 1, Duat. The Egyptian afterlife. Yeah, we don't have photos of this one, but we have some really old art, which is almost more compelling. Otherwise known as the Fields of Reeds or Fields of Offering, Duat is a place ancient Egyptians believed came after life. In fact, they believed that life on earth was just a mere fraction of an eternal life that we're meant to live. Not ending in death, but rather forever lasting in peace and harmony. Doesn't that sound great? We love that. They believed there was more to the body failing. The soul must continue. It must go on somewhere. Born on earth believing in the gods and the deities known as the Seven Hathors, once death did arrive, you're just entering another realm. But hopefully the gods have judged you so you can live in this paradise realm known as the Fields of Reeds. Not Duat. You want that one, definitely not the other one. The thing is, you don't just pass on and then enter this nice realm where you can drink wine and, two-step with your relatives. No, you have to earn your spot. You have to show the gods that you're a good human being. This paradise is just really a mirror image of your previous mortal life. So if you're not kind to others now, well, this field of dreams can easily turn into a field of eternal nightmares. Ancient Egyptians' beliefs in hell predates Jewish, Christian, and Islamic visions. The concept of hell in ancient Egypt predates the concept of hell in more of these modern religions, which is kind of baffling. With the god Osiris believed to be the lord of said underworld, we have the coffin texts and the Book of the Dead now to study up while we're still, living like lousy mortals. Maybe the Egyptians were onto something here. Maybe the sky really is an iron container of water for the gods. Maybe we have to earn our spot in this cosmos. I don't know. One way or another, there's definitely more than one dimension. Either cats or Egyptian afterlives. We're gonna see one of the two.
Number 10. Strange lights. Since the 1940s and possibly even earlier, there has been a strange light phenomenon observed in the Hesdalen Valley, Norway. The spectacle has a form of white or yellow light of unknown origin standing or floating above ground level. Between 1981 and 1984, the lights were observed up to 20 times per week, but have drastically reduced in frequency since then, about 10 to 20 times per year. Now why the decrease all of a sudden? No one knows, and no one knows where the lights come from, but UFO enthusiasts took this as a sign that the valley was a portal to other worlds. Now it wasn't just conspiracy theorists that were interested in this, as the strange bursts of light in the 1980s attracted physicists too, in quest piqued by the idea of some unexplained natural phenomenon. In the decades since, scientists have determined the glow likely comes from air turned into plasma, but despite ongoing research and numerous working hypotheses, there is no convincing explanation of the origin of these lights, and it seems like it will always be a mystery. Number 9. Falling through the ceiling. Back in the 1950s, the Cooper family from Texas moved into their new house. Once there, they took a family photo to commemorate the new move-in. Everything was normal, but then when the picture was developed, the image of a body falling from the ceiling was clearly visible. Now to be clear, no one fell from the ceiling when they took the photo, so what happened? As further investigation on this story has brought no plausible explanation, there exists many speculations, including one that argues that the shadow is the ghost of a previous owner of the house. But my question is, why is he falling from the ceiling? It just doesn't make sense, and it's absolutely terrifying, and I can't even imagine the reactions when they got the photo back. Number 8. The Young Boy. One of the most famous haunted houses in the United States is the Dutch Colonial House at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. The haunting stems from the night of November 13th, 1974, when 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo ended the lives of all 6 members of his family. He was then arrested, convicted, and given 6 concurrent life sentences. In December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, moved into the house and claimed that spooky things were happening. For example, George would wake up at 3:15 every morning, which was the approximate time that Ronald committed his crimes. Kathy said she would feel a ghostly presence and be embraced by it. All of this and more caused the family to flee in fear after only staying at the house for 28 days, and honestly, I don't blame them. Due to this, demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren visited the house and set up time-lapse infrared cameras and caught this photo. Now this picture wasn't made public until 3 years later when George Lutz appeared on the Merv Griffith Show in 1979. Believers of the haunting believe that the photo is a picture of the youngest DeFeo son, John Matthew, who was 9 at the time of the deaths. eyes. Others believe it's a staged photo, but despite the controversy, this picture is one of the most frightening images from the Amityville horror. Number 7. The Madonna with the Saint Giovanni. This is one of the most famous unexplained images of all time. The painting, the Madonna with the Saint Giovanni, was created in the 15th century. While the focus of the picture is on Mary, something creepy hovers above her left shoulder. There's an object that appears to be some sort of UFO hovering above the cliffs, and just below it you can see a man and his dog looking up at the saucer. Now, why on earth would this be included in the painting? Is it proof that UFOs and aliens have been around for a long time and humans knew we weren't alone in the universe? I'm not sure what the explanation is, but to be honest, it scares me. Number 6. Ghost outside. This ghostly figure was captured on a security camera at the Hampton Court, a royal palace located near the Greater London area. In the 16th century, the palace was expanded and renovated to be fit for a king, complete with lush gardens, banquet halls, and Henry VIII state and private apartments. This palace has over 1,390 rooms, but it seems like they had an unwanted visitor. A figure appeared to be closing one of the palace's doors, but when guards arrived to the palace, nobody was there. Now, as the palace has a long and violent history, the figure is believed to be one of the several ghosts that are rumored to haunt the building. Number 5. The sea creature. Hook Island is off the coast of Queensland, Australia, and Robert Le Sirach, his family, and a friend, Hank de Jong, stayed there for 3 months in late 1964. On December 12, 1964, the Le Sirachs and Hank were crossing Stonehaven Bay on the island when Robert's wife noticed something odd in the water. It was a long, tadpole-like creature. It was black and was believed that it was at least 30 feet long. Robert and Hank decided to venture into the water and record it on film. When they entered the water, the monster was even bigger than they thought, but as they started recording, the creature opened its mouth and swam away. Then when they checked the film, they had no footage of the creature, but the picture clearly shows it. The pictures were published in a magazine and eventually spread across the world, making it one of the most famous and unexplained pictures of a cryptid. Now, there are a number of possible explanations as to what this creature really is. One is that it was just a plastic bag that had been used by the American Navy for experiments in towing fuel. It could be a deflated skyhook balloon covered in weeds, or it could be a roll of cloth that was tied together and placed in the bottom of the lagoon. Regardless of what it is, I wouldn't want to go near it. Number 4. The moon. In 1972, this image was taken by Apollo 17 during its flight to the moon near the area known as Geophone Rock. NASA listed this image as blank, but after retouching the photo, you can see that it's not completely blank. Turning up the contrast, a pyramidal structure can be seen. So what is it? Was it some malfunction of the camera, or is there actually a pyramid on the moon? NASA has never given a credible version of the issue, which has led to some speculations about what else can actually be on the moon hidden to public awareness. And listen, not to be a crazy conspiracy theorist, but maybe it's true that aliens built the pyramids on Earth, as it looks like they did it on the moon too. And there was that one time NASA lost connection with an astronaut who was freaking out saying they're watching us from the moon, and what if the they're talking about lives in those pyramids? Huh? Just something to think about. Number 3. South Forks Bridge. This image was first made available to the public in 2004 when it was featured in the Barrelorn Pioneer Museum's exhibit, Their Past Lives Here. The photograph was taken in 1941 at the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in Canada. When the museum digitized and placed the collection online that included this picture in 2010, the internet went crazy. In the image, there is a man who clearly stands out, and many think he is a time traveler. The idea of him being a time traveler hinges on 3 items he is seen wearing or holding that appear to be of too modern a vintage for the 1940s, a logo shirt, a small portable camera, and wraparound sunglasses. It just seems like he's completely out of place, but who knows? Number 2. Ghost in the water. In 2014, Kim Davidson was swimming in a lake with a friend and their combined 3 children. They went to Murphy's Hole in Lockyer River in Queensland, Australia. While there, they took a photograph. But when the photograph came out, there was a ghostly figure of a girl behind the group who looked like she was leering behind the family. They said there was nothing in between them when the photo was taken, and on closely examining the image, they realized it was a white face with dark eyes and 2 horns on either side of the head. head. Its fingers are on Kim's shoulder and on the small girl's right arm. Kim posted it on Facebook, and upon seeing the image, many comments were made, and some said that the two horns looked like two ponytails or buns. A fellow user shared the story of Doreen O'Sullivan, a girl who accidentally drowned in the same creek in the same spot in 1913. Her obituary was found in the Brisbane Courier, dated the 22nd of November 1913. Now, the spot, which has always been considered dangerous, is known as Murphy's Hole and is over 20 feet deep. Upon reading this, Kim recollected that they had experienced strange things that day when they were swimming in the water. She felt someone's presence behind her, but she ignored it, and twice someone in the water even grabbed her elder daughter's leg. Now, by looking at this photo, she was convinced that the unknown face was that of Doreen. Kim got two paranormal experts to check the picture, and after investigating the photograph carefully, they concluded that the shape of the image was that of a child. And coming in at number 1, the babushka lady. The woman in the brown coat, or the babushka lady as she was later called by the FBI, was very close to JFK when he was assassinated in Dallas. Traveling in a presidential motorcade through downtown Dallas, JFK was assassinated, hit once in the back and once in the head. Kennedy was taken to Parkland Hospital for emergency medical treatment, where he was pronounced dead 30 minutes later. Now, Lee Harvey Oswald was charged with Kennedy's assassination, which he denied. Oswald was assassinated as well soon after. Now, the spawned numerous conspiracy theories. These theories allege the involvement of the CIA, the Mafia, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, Cuban Prime Minister Fidel Castro, the KGB, or some combination of these individuals and entities. The original FBI investigation and Warren Commission report, as well as the alleged benign CIA cover-up. But according to eyewitnesses, this woman, the babushka lady, filmed the entire thing. It's thought that from her vantage point, she may have been able to answer some critical questions about what really happened that day. However, the FBI was never able to track her down, and no one has since been able to figure out the identity of this mystery observer.
What the fuck? What? Wow, we're starting off strong with this one. Where did that come? Wow. Cool. I wish dogs would just appear in front of me like that all the time. That'd be great. I'd be so much happier. I'd be like, come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it.
Coffee, Smith?
I'm not drinking coffee.
I'm just testing. See, if you were a liar, you might
Weird.
say you were enjoying
Then just
yourself.
disappears.
Maybe you
Then
take
it
a
just
drink from an imaginary
disappears.
cup.
Who are you and why do you
I love they're watching Family Guy in the background, I think, or it's American Dad. That's super strange. That's super strange. This is gonna be one of those videos that haunts me forever. That's so weird. And I know a lot of things can be done on camera now because of the technology that we have, but it's so hard. Like, that's just the, wow, that show. I'm gonna forget the name of the show. Anyway, insert sci-fi show name here. That is what that is.
These two complete strangers stood next to each other utterly randomly, yet both seem to have the exact same legs. It's not just the color and design of the pants, though that certainly helps, but everything about their legs seems to sync up. If you were to only look at the bottom half of this photo, you'd probably think that there had just been a computer error and each half of the photo was identical, and yet the top half of each woman is individual.
I just love the narration sometimes, and I know that's kind of ironic considering that's what I do now for a living, but this would freak me out. Like, I've never actually shown to a party and had the same outfit as someone, which is kind of cool, I guess, being a jeans and t-shirt kind of gal. That should happen more often than it does. Anyway, whatever. That would freak me out. That's super, super cool, but I hope this was a wonderful moment for the two women in this video. I hope they were like, oh my god, girl, I didn't know. I thought I was the only one, as opposed to like the mean reaction, which is like, you can't wear those pants. I'm wearing those pants. Which happened in middle school all the time. Anyways.
There's an argument to be had that it's just pressurized air pushing against the manhole cover, making it bounce around. But that would have to be some seriously pressurized air to push something that heavy up and down. More pressure than a kid in the midst of their SATs. That's how much pressure we're talking. It's so lively, so free. It's almost as if the manhole cover has the mind of a puppy.
It's so lively, it's so free. Wow, amazing. That's hilarious. I love how he compares that to a kid going through the SATs. That's kind of the cherry on top for me. I kind of believe it. I don't know what happens in gutters. My mind's not in the gutter. I don't know, that could have been an alligator. I hope it wasn't an alligator, but it could have been just a really bad plumbing backup.
Yo, this bird is stuck in midair, bro. This bird is trying to fly, but it's stuck. Oh, the bird got stuck in time. Look, no lie, bro. What the
Dude, the wind must be so strong. That's actually what I blame that on. That's not necessarily a glitch, I think. That's just like, the bird has hit a wind draft that's just so strong that has finally just equated the bird's strength itself. Like, it can't actually fly through it. He's just gotta land and chill out for a minute because there's no way. That poor thing, how tiring would that be? That's like somebody, like, that's like one of those infinity pools, but for birds. Oh, that's loud.
Look at it, for real. Looks like it's just kind of hovering there. It's wild. I almost want to stop on the side of the road so you can see. It's barely moving. That is crazy.
Huh. See, that's not quite like the bird because it looked like the bird was in a storm, but this guy's got clear, beautiful skies. And unless it was some kind of optical illusion of the car kind of circling around the area, which is kind of what it looks like it does. It could be that, but that's really odd. That's so strange. Ugh, I mean, the fact that planes can even fly is a miracle to me. It's a science thing, I know, but it's incredible that they can. Like these massive, like 14-ton things, even larger than that, I'm not actually sure. But that one was weird. What do you guys think?
A dash camera captures something really strange in the middle of the street while it's raining outside. We see the car positioned vertically, standing on its end, and it's quite bizarre. It's just really strange. Is this car defying gravity? Or is there a reasonable explanation why the car is positioned this way?
I was like, well, it's raining, pouring. There's a dramatic, like I feel like he's about to narrate a film noir and it's about a car balancing on a crash. I wonder, for some miraculous reason, they have something really, really heavy in the back of the car, and when it kind of tilted back, it counteracted the weight of the end. So that's why it's balancing like that. Maybe. Or it's a glitch in the Matrix. I don't know. If all else fails, it's the Matrix.
On a CCTV camera, we see two men that look like complete strangers. Both wipe their face at the same time while in a similar stance.
Одновременно сейчас.
It does make you wonder whether we are all just actually in a massive computer game being run by aliens in space and they're just having a wonderful time, bringing us slowly into awareness until one day we all realize that this is in fact the Matrix and the movie was right.
The car is driving down a snowy road. It's pretty extreme weather, nice and Christmassy, but otherwise nothing out of the ordinary here. But these glitches seem to come when we least expect them. Slowly but surely the car appears to fade away. Slowly but surely it is consumed by the snowflakes and vanishes into thin air, gone without a trace.
Pretty sure it was still there, right? I'm gonna do that again. Oh yeah, I guess the one on the corner wasn't the car. I thought it was the first time I watched it. I thought it was that one. That's so weird. I mean, driving in the winter in Canada is not fun, and it's the worst when you're like driving and you can't see the road because it's just so snowing so fast. There are some people that just drive on the highway during extreme weather and they drive like it's a Sunday and it's gorgeous outside, and I have no idea how they do it. And I have a feeling that that gust of snow that just flurried up before the car disappeared was actually the car just going like, you know, they just decided to, Jesus, take the wheel.
A criminal was desperate to race away from the police. His car is bolting down the highway at breakneck speeds. Will he get away? These are exciting scenes, but not exactly abnormal. It's what happens next that will have you doubting your entire concept of reality. Just in the nick of time, his car appears to mysteriously vanish in a puff of black smoke. It's as if Thanos clicked his fingers in the car and its driver turned into dust in an instant. It's any criminal's dream to be able to teleport away from the scene of the crime in a mere instant.
No way that's real. No way. That's really cool though if it is. But there's no way. That's gotta be like a deep fake internet thing. That's just way too cool and way too convenient. I also love the narration. Can we just talk about that for a second? He's like, it's so romantic, you know?
What the f is happening?
I've seen this video before and I've watched it so many times and I find it so creepy. Just people standing there. It's like somebody press pause, you know? And this goes back to the game theory. Like we're all just some game of Sims, aren't we? That's so freaky. That's so freaky. I hate that. That's like a horror film in the making. Ugh, gross. No, thank you. I know, I said it again. I wanted to say it again.
The fence at the end means no way out. Or does it?
What? What? That's so
Even
crazy.
watching it again,
Wait a minute.
Cops are unable to make sense of it. All they see is an intact fence and nothing more than the vanishing taillights of what the Garden City PD has come to call the ghost car.
That's so... That one was cool. That one was really cool. I don't know how to explain that. Obviously, I don't have all the answers to anything. I don't even have the answers to anything in my own life. But that was pretty cool. Because, okay, so at first I thought, when he turns off, I thought maybe he kind of found an exit and just went around. But then, they literally turn and it's right, that's super weird. That's so cool. That's definitely a glitch in the Matrix. Somebody's playing Grand Theft Auto and it's going real well for them, I guess. Wait. What? I don't understand that at all. My brain hurts. Oh God, it hurts. At first I thought it was because it was spinning so fast you saw the 5 separate blades, but they aren't. Usually you see kind of like almost a gray film in between each one if it's going that fast, but it starts to move at 26 seconds in. I don't get that. That's so weird. I'm not gonna be the same person after that. That's really cool. I want someone to slow this video down. Or speed it up or slow it down as far as you possibly can just to see if there is any movement, and then we can debunk that theory, and then this video is just weird, but I also don't want that to be debunked because then, you know what I mean?
Starting off this countdown, we have SpongeBob. Who here is a fan of the sponge that lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. So if you answered yes, then have you seen the 2004 SpongeBob movie? The one where the two goofy goobers, SpongeBob and Patrick, set out to return King Neptune's crown to save Mr. Krabs, and then Plankton tries to take over and yeah. Well, if you've seen this, then in one of the final scenes, there's this whole musical number where SpongeBob rocks out to Goofy Goober. At one point, he bursts into a wizard outfit in white boots while rocking on a guitar. Well, take a look at this image. Do you remember SpongeBob playing on a white electric guitar or a weird peanut one? Let me know. I remember him holding a white electric guitar, but apparently that's not right, and he always had a peanut guitar. No, just no, that's not right. We fully switched universes because SpongeBob never had that guitar, I swear. Moving on to number 9, we have Cheez-Its. But apparently, that tasty cheese cracker is not called Cheez-Its, it's Cheez-It. Either I've been saying it wrong my entire life, or this is proof that we live in a parallel universe. Like, do you remember it being Cheez-It or Cheez-Its? Because honestly, Cheez-It doesn't make sense to me. It needs to be plural because there's more than just one cracker in the box. Now I'm just getting mad here, but someone's out there playing with us, I swear. Moving on at number 8, we have these circle clouds. Ever wondered what life is like in another universe? Well, they might just have circular clouds. Yeah, you heard me. Look at this real image of a circular cloud. Honestly, if I saw that, I would panic thinking that the end is near. Like, it's cool, but also, it's not right. Like, that's a glitch in the Matrix or something. Mother Nature is glitching. Or maybe that's what normal clouds look like in a parallel universe. Who knows at this point? In our 7th spot, we have the twins. Except the guys in this photo aren't twins. They're not even related. Yet they somehow dressed up in identical outfits and appeared at the same place, both reading newspapers. How creepy is that? Like, they even have the same haircut and hairline. Like, what is going on? I mean, the sweater is identical, same brand and logo and color. What are the odds? The only difference is that the man on the left is wearing black socks and the man on the right is wearing white socks. One of them is from a parallel universe for sure. It's the same dude, just our universe is glitching or merging with other universes or something like that. Coming in at number 6, we have the green KFC. So we all know that the KFC colors are red and white, right? Well, not at this KFC location. Since when does KFC have a green building? Hell no, that makes me uncomfortable. Even Colonel Sanders is wearing a green apron thing instead of a red one. That's not normal. That KFC is in another universe, I swear. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the photo glitch. Okay, someone needs to explain this photo to me. It's not edited at all. The girl just somehow appeared to be gray in the photo. Like, it looks fake, am I right? How is that possible? Unless her goal was to be a gray Santa. This one just hurts my brain. Like, if anyone can genuinely explain this photo, then let me know in the comments below. Like, how did she appear colorless when everyone else in the photo is in color? I feel like I'm tripping out. Moving on at number 4, we have C-3PO. Who here is a fan of Star Wars? Hit that thumbs up button if you are. Well, a lot of die-hard fans were shook when they found out that C-3PO does not have an entirely gold body. That's right, apparently he's always had one silver leg. Okay, then explain this to me. How come when I was little, I had a C-3PO figurine that had 2 gold legs, okay? Someone explain that to me. What do you remember though? Apparently, a ton of fans just remember C-3PO being entirely golds. So, is our memory failing us, or are we universe jumping? In our 3rd spot, we have the Berenstain Bears. Okay, disclaimer. Buckle your seatbelts because I'm about to get heated and passionate for this one. So, do you remember the classic kids book being the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears? Because I remember it being the Berenstain Bears, spelled S-T-E-I-N. But no, I've been living a life of lies and deceit because apparently it's always been the Berenstain Bears. Stain, S-T-A-I-N. What? But I'm not the only one. Thousands of others remember it being the Berenstain Bears. So, theory goes that there are parallel universes out there. In this case, we have the Steen universe and the Stain universe. We lived in the Steen universe during the 90s when the books were out, but then later on, we somehow shifted into the Stain universe. Somehow, the universe ended up overlapping with ours, which is why we remember the Steen books, because they were real, but just in another universe. It's just driving me insane. Like, it was the Berenstain Bears. Okay, why would it be Stain? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, okay? Like if you agree. And at number 2, we have the Looney Tunes. Here's another one that will drive you mad. Or should I say, drive you loony. Sorry, I'll stop with the dad jokes. But do you remember the classic cartoon being Looney Tunes, T-O-O-N-S, or Looney Tunes, T-U-N-E-S? I remember it being Tunes, spelled with 2 O's. And that makes sense because it's a cartoon. But no, apparently it's tunes like a music tune, which makes no sense again. Hello, it's a cartoon, not a music tune. I just want to go back to the Toons universe, like the T-O-O-N-S universe, because everything just makes more sense there, okay? They probably don't have COVID there, just saying. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the Mona Lisa. Okay, this one really tripped me out, but do you remember the Mona Lisa having a little smirk on her face or a serious face. I remember her always having a slight smirk, not a huge smile, but just a little something something, you know? But in high school, I was taught that she was serious and she didn't smile in the portrait. But get this, in a movie from 1931, it shows the Mona Lisa smiling. This movie is called The Theft of the Mona Lisa. Here's a clip from it. Now, of course, they didn't use the real Mona Lisa for the film, but wouldn't you think that they would get an exact replica for the film? Meaning that she had a smile. Because why all of a sudden would they use a Mona Lisa where she's smiling? Unless back in the day, she was smiling in the portrait, and then somehow we're now in a universe where in the painting, she didn't smile. Okay? But that's not all. In a 1962 Looney Tunes episode titled Louvre Come Back to Me, we can also again see the Mona Lisa smiling.
I can tell you chaps one thing, it's not always easy to hold this smile.
In the clip, she literally says, I can tell you one thing, it's not always easy to hold a smile. Bam! It's just proof that at one point the Mona Lisa did have a smile. You see how worked up I get over this? Something's going on here. We're in a parallel universe. It's tripping me out.
Coming in at number 10, we have tiny hole disease. The bad people of Photoshop invented a horrible disease in order to trigger people with trypophobia, the fear of tiny holes. I actually really don't like a tiny hole, this much I know. So people with trypophobia will be afraid of little holes in symmetrical patterns. A lot of the time this is kind of the sickening symmetry that you can find in nature, like in honeycomb or certain plants. For example, meet the lotus pod. It actually makes my stomach turn. Remember the lotus pod for just one moment. Obviously when it comes to tiny holes in the skin, then that just hammers the fear home, right? The only way in real life you can get anything close to holy skin is by like kneeling on a bag of peas. Or is it? My friends, have a look at this. Lots of people have delighted in photoshopping grotesque holes onto people's skin, and that makes me feel absolutely not okay. The humble lotus pod has even been used to generate a horrifying looking skin condition that thankfully doesn't exist. Okay, can we stop looking at this now? Please. Coming into number 9, we have Voldemort. Could it be magic? No. No! Does anyone else here remember Take That? I feel like America never had the pleasure of the British boy band, but whatever, I stand by the reference and I just like to sing in the middle of lists. Honestly, it makes this whole dark Photoshop thing a lot easier to deal with. So remember when Dobby the house elf was spotted on security camera in the middle of the night? Well, I'm thinking that there's some kind of Hogwarts back from the dead resurgence going on, because this is something happening with Voldemort. I think that there's a poor soul with a Voldemort stuck on the back of his head. I guess that actually this is a black and white photo, so perhaps it predates the whole Professor Quirrell and Voldy era. For those of you who have forgotten, it looked a lot like this.
Bravery. Your parents had it too.
Like, what is going on with the evil on the head? Is this some kind of pre-Voldemort? Is this a wizard thing? I don't like it. This is one of the first examples of horror Photoshop. Coming into number 8, we have the 9/11 plane. This picture went viral on the internet and purportedly captured the moment just before one of the hijacked planes hit the World Trade Center. It shows a tourist unaware of his impending fate and the imminency of the moment that would change the world forever. Note the date on the picture. This image was actually unleashed to the world 2 weeks after the 9/11 attack and spread like wildfire over the internet at a time that people were still very much grieving. So did this picture capture the final moments of a man's life? Well, no. There are some digital imperfections that are visible to the trained eye, but beyond that, the man is wearing a coat, and I'm not sure if you've ever been to New York during the month of September, but it just isn't coat weather. Also, the observation deck doesn't open until 9:30 AM, so there wouldn't have been anyone up there yet. The plane also looks like it's approaching from the north, but the North Tower didn't have an outdoor observation deck, so it absolutely couldn't have been there. The plane isn't the right model either, so basically it was fake and nasty, and I have no idea who would do this and why. The image came from a Hungarian man called Peter, who claimed that it was indeed him as the tourist guy. He created the viral image. Honestly, for me, I think that's really sick. Why would someone want to do that? things were getting a little heavy there for a second, so let's change up the tone a bit and talk about this absolute poop leader at number 7. I remember this image going viral. It seems to show a cheerleader who experiences a nasty case of diarrhea in the middle of a game. Unfortunate, especially when you're being hoiked into the air. Can you even imagine? A lot of people thought that this image was real. The look of the shock on the cheerleaders on the right hand side certainly make it seem like it could be, although, I mean, I've never seen poop that liquidy. It turns out, thankfully, this is fake, but the scary thing is that this poor girl was shamed. One commenter, Kintinka Min, wrote, "You can ruin someone's life with this sort of thing. I actually saw this image and believed it, and I felt deeply sorry for the girl. Imagine if this really happened and the whole world laughing about it, and now she has to run around explaining that actually this isn't real, right?" Okay, even grosser still at number 6, we have Blue Waffle. No, I'm not actually going to show you these Photoshop images because honestly, internet people be nasty, and trust me when I say you can live without it. You'll actually have a much better life. Let me tell you though a little bit about one of the original Photoshop troll trends. Blue waffle became a thing in the early 2000s. It is allegedly a sexually transmitted disease that leaves both male and female nether regions looking pretty messed up. Messed up with a bluish tinge. Great. So anyway, a lot of photoshopping of body parts went on, leading people to believe that it was legit. Many people, especially kids, were actually worried about the disease, so many that a doctor felt compelled to make a video about it.
Blue waffle disease is not a thing.
Okay, what else we got? A giant spider and pals are coming into number 5. I don't like spiders, but I am gonna call BS on this straight away. This is scary to look at, but honestly I take comfort in the fact that there is no way that this is real. The image was clearly taken in a house of some kind. A spider is on the ceiling. The thing is though, the biggest spider in the world is the giant bird-eating spider, and 1, it isn't even that big, and 2, it lives in the rainforest of northern South America, so you're very unlikely to see one ever. I would say sleep easy, but I think that the small spiders are real, and that's also gross. Coming into number 4, we have this old ghost. It's an old chestnut, it's an old ghost, I've seen it a lot of times. Have a look at this picture. It's usually accompanied by short stories like this. Back in the 1950s, the Cooper family from Texas moved into their new home, but something was amiss. Once there, they took a family photo, but when they got the picture developed, there was an image of a body falling from the ceiling. On further investigation, the story has brought no plausible explanation. There have been many speculations, including one that argues that the shadow is the ghost of the previous owner of the house. The film was proved as authentic, so what's going on? For me, it's all very Amityville horror, right? No prizes for guessing that of course this image turned out to be photoshopped. The real image is just of a nice family, sitting down, sans ghost. Oh, hey there Slender Man. How are you doing at number 3? I feel like you can't get through a scary top 10 list without reference to Slender Man, so here he is. Slender Man is an internet urban legend that crawled forth from a creepypasta posted on a forum by Eric Knudsen in 2009. The tall, thin humanoid with no facial features piqued the interest of many internet users, so it was only a matter of time before they started photoshopping him into pre-existing images and spreading scary news stories. For example, here is Slenderman seen lurking in the shadows at the back of a group of kids. Here he is responsible for a child's abduction. Here he is having started a school fire. Slenderman, he gets everywhere. Okay, we are heavily on the internet creepypasta wagon here. Coming in at number 2, we have Jeff the Killer. I feel like most of you will recognize this image. Jeff. Jeff the Killer emerged from the internet in 2008, and the story usually goes a little something like this. There was a boy at school, he was terribly bullied, he mutilated his own face and went on a killing spree. Things escalated kinda quickly. He even murdered his own brother, to whom he whispered the words, "Just go to sleep." Horrifying stuff, right? Sure, creepypasta. It was all over the internet. This is the image used to depict Jeff the Killer, but actually the image is photoshopped from a picture of an innocent young girl. Here is the original. It turns out that the reveal of the real image actually even sparked a new urban legend of its very own. The story then went that the exaggerated and photoshopped image of the teenage girl upset her so much, and she was bullied so hard for being the face behind Jeff the Killer that she herself actually took her own life. Now, I'm actually pretty sure that that part of the story isn't true. But either way, turning a girl into a grotesque caricature just like that isn't okay. I honestly think that Photoshop is scariest when the image is given context, given a story. This Photoshop image at number 1 was so compelling that it made the story seem very believable, and well, I think it's fake. I certainly hope so. Coming into number 1, we have the Russian sleep experiment. The Russian sleep experiment was, according to internet lore, a hospital experiment that was said to have taken place in Soviet Russia. The Soviets were experimenting on political prisoners during World War II. Now, we know that they did do this in some form in real life. Russian doctors allegedly used sleep deprivation as torture and studied its effects. Now, prisoners were told that they would be freed if they took place in a 30-day experiment. To cut a long story short, at the end of the experiment, those still alive could no longer be described as human or even human looking. When asked what they were, one of the subjects reportedly smiled and said, "We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread." I don't know. Cool. So what does the madness inside of your head look like? Good question. Something like this, apparently. Horrifying, right? I almost believed this story when I saw this picture. That was until I saw the original image. It turns out that the famous Russian sleep experiment image actually comes from a real horrifying movie prop called Spasm that was photoshopped to look like it was a prisoner. Lovely. Great. Horrifying. Ugh.
At number 10 we have Goatman. Goatman, Goatman, Goatman! Someone remixed the song Jumpman with Goatman and then punched it up with some like goat themed lyrics. That would blow up. Also, if that song already exists, please leave a link in the comments below. This one is one of the most famous creepypastas out there. It's about a creature that can shapeshift into any animal or any person and kills people. I'm gonna say that this picture is a combination of things. It's a nice staged killing with some live props crossed between some okay Photoshop skills. I mean, the mask and feet are very convincing, but the blood splatter on the bag, that looks like early 2000s CGI. The effects in The Mummy Returns look better when the rock turns into that scorpion creature. At number 9 we have the Hook Island sea monster. Every time I get the chance I squeeze some sort of sea monster in. I think there's a part of me that's convinced that there's some giant weird creature lurking around in the deep below. The Hook Island sea monster is a classic sea monster story. Boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, their love is forbidden so they run away together. Wait, that's a different story. What I meant to say is a couple sees a giant black mass underwater and then tells all their friends about it, and then no one ever seems to see the thing again. No one even asks them about how day drunk they were when they made this sighting. I mean, the sighting happened in 1964 by a couple who were on a boat. You're gonna tell me that they didn't spend all day drinking? Well, apparently this thing was 80 feet long and looked like a giant tadpole. There's lots of photos of the Hook Island monster, but it's hard to tell if they're legit or not. At number 8 we have the Thousandth of a Second. What? This looks crazy. How does it even happen? The water looks like a little blanket that's gonna snuggle that rock and sing it a sweet little lullaby right into its ear. Well, I guess that's not really scary, but this picture is so nuts that I had to put it on the list. Apparently this photo isn't photoshopped. The shutter speed is just so fast that it captures the water flying over the rock in this perfect time where the water looks like it's solid. That's crazy. I want to take this camera and take pictures of people falling off of skateboards and get every millisecond of pain and damage that goes into their body. I think I spend more time looking at the Instagram Wicked Slams than any other page. There's something about people getting brutally hurt that really brings joy to my heart. At number 7 we have the Slow Wave Firth Spaceman. Here's a creepy one, photobombed from a spaceman. This picture was taken back in 1964 and it's the original. Of course with the internet you can't trust anything. This whole thing could have started just as a Reddit thread of a weird picture. Then people made up a backstory for it and the next thing you know everyone thinks space people are popping into pictures. But apparently this photo was taken and the only two people there were the little girl and the grandfather taking the picture. After the photo was developed, the old old dude had the picture inspected by the workers at Kodak and they said it was legit. I want to believe that there's a time traveler that used his godlike powers to leave his mark on a Polaroid from the 60s, but I just haven't met an old person who doesn't lie just for fun. The elderly love their blarneys. At number 6 we have Freddie Jackson's last photo. It seems like ghosts just love to jump into pictures unannounced. Like you had your chance to take a bunch of pictures when you were alive. Don't use your ghostly powers to ruin my brunch pics. I'm trying to curate an Instagram over here. Well, this pic was hella creepy. In 1919, a member of the Royal Air Force died in one of the worst ways I can think of. He didn't get shot down or jump on a grenade, he walked into a propeller. Ugh. I would hate to be the guy who's in charge of cleaning that up. There would be brains behind doorknobs. Well, the squadron packed him into a nice little box and then put a funeral on for him. This was 2 days after the day he died. And on the day of the funeral, they did a big group photo of everyone looking super cute. And who decided to show up? Behind one of the pilots, you can see the ghostly face of Freddie Jackson. I mean, he was probably a little happy. Even though he was dead, he was for sure stoked to see how many people made it to his funeral. At number 5, we have bath time. Alright, there's one bath and 6 of us. Should we take turns? No, 5 of us are gonna pile into that bath all at once, and then the 6th person is gonna take a picture. That's a good time. Is this what happens on girls' night? You guys take non-sexual baths together for fun? You know, you can just play Smash Bros. You can have up to 8 players on the screen at one time. Well, it's not the 5 girls all packed into a bathtub that makes this picture strange, and makes me wonder if there's such a thing as being too good of friends, but it's the Shadow Man in the window. Jesus Christ, someone get a priest so we can banish this soul stealer out of here. Now in the photo, you can't tell if this person is standing outside or a demon ghost that has left his imprint on the glass. Either way, this man or monster is a huge creep and needs to let people just enjoy their shared bath time. Please go away. At number 4, we have Babushka. I love this picture so much. I hope in my soul it's not photoshopped. I want this little old lady to be a real person. It looks like her makeup was done by a mortician and she's slumped over like she's lived through 11 wars. There's so much going on. The reason I think it might be photoshopped is her body doesn't match the rest of her. Her head totally sticks out. She's got a little kid's shirt on and she's way too small. You can tell by the guy sitting behind her. If she's real, she's no taller than 4 feet. I know some people get shorter as they get older, but this is kind of crazy. She probably has some little miniature house furnished with miniature furniture. I love this little babushka lady. If she's real, I wish her good fortune, and I hope the step stool she uses to grab everything never breaks. At number 3, we have zombies. Every country has their own unique cultures and you gotta respect them. I gotta say, respect the Menene, but I would never take part in it. It looks like a scene out of The Walking Dead, or like someone photoshopped a bunch of dead bodies into a fashion show. But this is totally real. The Menene, also called the ceremony of cleaning corpses, is where people dig up the bodies of their dead relatives and then take them home and change their clothes. I mean, it seems like a super sweet thing to do. You give your grandma a fresh t-shirt so she always looks fly in the grave. But I think there's such a thing as caring too much. There has to be a point where you don't have to care about people anymore, and I'm gonna say it's after they die. But hey, who am I to judge? These guys are doing something nice for their dead loved ones. One of my favorite traditions is cutting down precious trees and then dressing them up, and then getting super invested in capitalism. The Menene takes place every year in Indonesia, so if you really want to experience another country's culture, you know where to go. At number 2, we got Headless Dude Enjoys the View. This one is freaky. There's 2 pictures of this dude with no head, and the photographer was this lady visiting the Rocky Mountain National Park. She was just trying to get some good shots of the scenery. Upon reviewing the photos, she saw that there was a no-head ghost haunting her pics. She's positive that no one was there when she took the photos. She thinks the ghost might be of her father, who was recently killed on the job. At number 1, we have Ghostface. Not the amazing rapper from the Wu-Tang Clan, but this creep ghost that wanted to get into someone's camera roll one more time. Now I can only find the black and white version of this picture. I guess when you're capturing some dead dude's soul in a photo, you gotta make sure it looks artistic. If this was a color photo, it would be easier to tell if this is just a dude who doesn't know how to smile and probably likes to do arts and crafts with people's body parts, or if it is indeed a ghost caught on camera. Either way, it's terrifying. Really, it's his white eyes that send it over the top for me. It's like if you stare into them, you'll know your own death and then pee your pants a little.